Cholita wrestling, a battle for justice. If you think wrestling is a strange event, you should try watching Cholita wrestling. Imagine this, a wrestling ring where one wrestler holds a woman's head and they act like they are fighting. The woman pretends to roar in pain while the wrestler laughs. Suddenly, the woman strikes back. Outside the ring, the audience is clapping and raising the roof. This exciting event is called Cholita wrestling, and it's from La Paz, Bolivia. Cholita wrestling features indigenous women called Cholitas. They wear traditional skirts, hats, and shawls. These women are powerful and wrestle with both men and women. They show impressive moves, such as jumping high and throwing each other around. A wrestling match usually lasts for 3 to 4 hours. Guess what? If you sit close to the front, you might even get playful kisses from the Cholitas. You could even have popcorn thrown your way. Isn't this wild, energetic, and super fun?
Hello everyone, welcome to English for You. I'm Mike.
I'm Chickling.
And today we are beginning a 2-day look at wrestling done by people you wouldn't expect, maybe in a place that you wouldn't expect, for reasons that you wouldn't expect. Now, when I say wrestling, what do you think of?
I think of the American show that I used to watch when I was a kid. I used to watch the show with my grandparents.
Right? Really big guys throwing each other around the ring. It's kind of like a fighting sport, but it's also kind of just like a show. You're never sure if it's real or if it's fake or something. I think it's really popular in Japan too, right?
Yes,
they have Japanese wrestling. And of course, a lot of people might know Lucha Libre from Mexico, where they wear those colorful masks. So yeah, it's kind of a sport, but it's not really a sport. You wouldn't find this kind of wrestling, professional wrestling, in the Olympics, but it is on TV and a lot of people. Actually, I saw it here in Taipei at Xiaojudan, that big American group, WWE. They came here to Taiwan. My friend is a big wrestling fan as a kid, so I bought him some tickets for his birthday. We went and cheered. I didn't know what was going on. But anyways, it is a lot of fun to kind of see. And even though these guys aren't actually fighting, it's a really hard thing to do. It's kind of like watching a Hollywood fight, live. So they're sort of like stuntmen and athletes and that kind of thing. But when we talk about Cholita wrestling, this is going to be really different from those really big American guys throwing each other around, as you will learn in our article. So let's get to it. We're going to find out about Cholita wrestling and why it's also so important in the part of the world where they do it. So let's look at the article. It says, if you think wrestling is a strange event, you should try watching Cholita wrestling. So if you think wrestling is strange, it's kind of an act, it's kind of a show, it's kind of a sport, that's kind of strange, right? It's kind of unusual. So if you think that is strange, the normal wrestling you see on TV, you should try watching Cholita wrestling. So from this sentence, I'm getting the idea that Cholita wrestling is even more strange than normal wrestling.
所以 wrestling 就是摔跤，所以如果你觉得摔跤是一个很奇怪的活动，那么你应该试试去看裘莉塔摔跤。
Okay, so try to make this picture in your mind, or as it says, imagine this, a wrestling ring where one wrestler holds a woman's head and they act like they are fighting. Okay, well, they often act like they are fighting, but having women in there doing the fighting, that is definitely more unusual. They do it in some places, but not that much. So yeah, this is definitely already a little bit different.
所以 wrestler 就是摔跤选手，所以想象一下，在摔跤场上呢，一名摔跤手抓住女生的头，一个女生的头，表现得好像在打架。
The woman pretends to roar in pain, while the wrestler laughs. So maybe the wrestler, one of them is kind of the bad guy, the other one is the good guy, and the good guy, it seems, or the good girl, it seems, is losing this fight because she is roaring in pain. But don't worry, they are all pretending. Yes, absolutely. That's one of the things that makes wrestling different from other sports like boxing or something like this. In wrestling, they are pretending. They are acting as if something were real, as if this were a real fight with a real winner at the end, where it's all sort of planned before. It's a bit more like a show. But when you pretend, yeah, you're acting like something is real. That's what actors do, right? They are paid to act or pretend that they are other people doing other things. And of course, kids, when they use their imaginations, they can pretend, right? When you see the kids pretending to be, firefighters or astronauts or police officers or something, they're little kids. That's not a police officer. But in their mind, they're acting like it's real. They're acting like they are those things or those people. Here's a classic example. The two little kids were pretending that they were astronauts and the big box was their spaceship. So you're using their minds to make it like it is real, but of course it's not. And we also had that sound or that action of one of the wrestlers. They were roaring with pain. To roar, we often think of roaring with lions, right? That loud sound that male lions will make, or the sound the lion at the beginning of the movies makes, right? Those movies, roar. The lion roars there, but we can also use it for people. It's basically the same as yell, okay? If you hear something roaring in pain, they're making a loud noise because they're in pain, they hurt. We could also do it for a better reason. You could roar with laughter, right? So not like, that's not roaring with really loud laughter, really loud sound could be a roar. For example, the audience roared with laughter as the comedian told his jokes. And things can roar. We might also talk about how the wind roars past your windows during a typhoon or something like that.
所以 pretend 就是假装的意思哦。那当然你当形容词也可以。If you use it as an adjective, it means imaginary or not real. So you can say they saw through his pretend happiness, but it still bothered them. 代表呢 his happiness wasn't real. 那这边另外一个动词是 roar， 它就是吼叫、咆哮。所以比如说老虎，不是老虎，狮子 ，the lion's roar。Echoed through the jungle， 就是老虎的声，不是老虎啦，是狮子，不是老虎，狮子的大叫就是很大声，所以这个女人就会假装痛苦的咆哮，然后摔跤手就哈哈大笑。It's like they're putting on the show, right?
Yes, exactly right. Suddenly, the woman strikes back. So the person who was losing is now starting to win. Ooh, this is very exciting. Outside the ring, so not in the area where the fighters, where the athletes are doing their show, outside the ring, the audience is clapping and raising the roof. Okay, so they're having a good time, basically. The audience is really into it. They're cheering and yelling and whistling for the people or the fighter that they like. And this is, of course, outside the ring. It's kind of a funny thing, right? It's always a square where you do your boxing or your wrestling, but we call it a ring, which of course is normally a circle, but it is actually a square shape. But we still say in the ring, boxing ring or something like that. So the audience is having a great time. Let's talk about those people, the audience. And who are the audience? Well, they're the people watching. That's what we mean when we say the audience. The people who have probably paid, bought a ticket, sitting there, being entertained by whatever is in front of them. You could be the audience at a movie when you're just watching a big screen. You could be an audience at a concert where you might be standing up and dancing and clapping, or an audience at a play or something where you sit there quietly and watch the actors do the show. Wrestling's a little interesting because it's kind of a sport and it's kind of a show. But generally with a sport, like a real sport, baseball or basketball, we might not use the word audience. We wouldn't say the basketball audience. We would say the crowd watching the sports. But if it's some kind of entertainment, like a concert or a play or a movie, then you would use the word audience. And here's an example of a very different kind of audience from an audience watching wrestling. The audience clapped politely at the end of the classical music concert. Oh yes, not a lot of cheering and raising the roof and yelling, a much quieter audience, but still people watching a show.
所以 strike back 就是反击，它的三态是 strike, struck, struck。Raise the roof 这边指的是高声喧闹，所以 audience 就是观众的意思。比如说你要去娱乐观众，就是 to entertain 什么谁，所以 the comedian entertain the audience with his jokes and funny stories。所以突然女人就反击了，那这个摔跤场外呢，观众们就会哇耶拍手叫好，欢呼雀跃。
All right, so a bunch of ladies fighting there in the wrestling ring and a very entertained audience. Where would we find this? This exciting event is called Cholita Wrestling, and it's from La Paz, Bolivia. That's right, Bolivia, of course, the country in South America. La Paz being the capital, the biggest city in Bolivia. That's where you go to get your Cholita wrestling experience.
所以对这个 Cholita wrestling 就是裘莉塔摔跤，这个令人兴奋的活动呢，就是这个名字，它是来自于玻利维亚的 La Paz， 所以是拉巴斯。
Cholita wrestling features indigenous women called cholitas. So these are women from Bolivia. They're indigenous women. So in some way back in the old days, they're part of the native Indian groups, Indian tribes of Bolivia. And also you might be able to point them out because they wear traditional skirts, hats, and shawls. And if you've ever seen a picture of a Cholita woman from Bolivia or that part of the world, you'll definitely notice these sort of traditional clothes they wear, especially the hats. They wear those round hats, kind of like Charlie Chaplin did.
Okay.
You know, a hat you might think that a man 100 years ago in Europe might wear, but these women wear them too, and they have a very cool look, a very special look that is really closely linked to that part of the world. So they feature some interesting clothes. To feature is basically to highlight, to bring attention to focus on something, or to have something special. So if I'm telling you about a thing or a place and there's something extra special or interesting that really might be cool for you, I would say, oh, it features this. All right, so there could be a lot of things there, but this is one of the more unique or interesting or special things that I want you to bring your attention to. I want you to know about. For example, this cruise ship features 2 swimming pools, a theater, and 7 different restaurants. Of course, it also probably features many rooms,
yes.
You know, a lot of fun things to do, but these are some of the special things about it. This is what it features.
所以 feature 这边是动词，以什么当特色主打，当名词也可以。If it's a noun, it's a typical quality or an important part of something. 你的特征，你的特色。比如说 the new car has many great features like a built-in GPS and heated seats. 很厉害，所以这个 indigenous 就是原住民的意思。所以裘莉塔摔跤的主角被称为裘莉塔，她就是原住民的妇女，她们穿着传统的裙子、帽子跟披肩。
All right, so we know indigenous cholitas, I should say, are indigenous women from Bolivia. We know they wear special clothes and that kind of thing. Let's find out more about them. It says these women are powerful and wrestle with both men and women. Oh my gosh, a cholita could probably beat me up in about 5 seconds. So they're very powerful. Of course, if you're going to wrestle, you're not like, oh, I'm a really good wrestler. Oh. No, you have big muscles. You can pick people up and spin them around and throw them and, you know, that kind of thing that people do when they wrestle, of course. And they show impressive moves, such as jumping high and throwing each other around and doing it without getting hurt. And that is definitely impressive. And if something is impressive, basically it makes you go, wow. It's something you might not expect. It's something that you might see and have no idea what's happening. But when it happens, your brain is kind of trying to understand it in a good way, all right? So you might be thinking it will be like this, kind of okay, but it's much better than okay. It's amazing. You would say that's really impressive. If someone shows you a painting and they say, oh, I just started painting 6 months ago, but it's a beautiful painting that looks like something you see in an art museum. You say, whoa, that's impressive. I thought you were just a beginner, but wow, you're really talented. So it's kind of more than you expect. It makes you go, wow, and it kind of makes you feel respect for what you're seeing. Respect and some surprise kind of mixed in together, you know, because it's much better than you might have guessed After working out at the gym for a year, Malcolm developed some pretty impressive muscles. We know he's lost some weight and he looks healthy, but man, he took his shirt off at the beach or something and whoa, he looks like a wrestler. He looks like a professional athlete. His muscles are very impressive.Impressive 就是令人印象深刻的，所以比如说你表演表得很印象深刻，你就可以说 Someone makes an impressive performance. 比如说 She made an impressive performance at the talent show, wowing the audience with her singing. 所以这些女人呢，充满了力量，可以与男人、女人进行摔跤，而且她们表现出令人印象深刻的动作，比如说高高的跳起来，互相的投掷对方。Okay, back to our article. I'm remembering when I saw the wrestling show at Xiaojudan here in Taipei. I think it was about 2 hours long, and we probably saw 8 fights, right?
Okay.
Different groups of people. Sometimes it was 2 people against 2. So, but 2 hours and maybe 8 fights or something like that. So each one was, 15, 20 minutes, okay? A wrestling match in Cholita wrestling, a wrestling match usually lasts for 3 to 4 hours. 3 to 4 hours. That's just one fight between 2 people? They must be exhausted. Or maybe that's the whole show or something like that. But anyways, it is very, very impressive. The other thing you often find is that in countries like this, you pay a little amount of money and you get a big show, right? Because that's the way they get more people to come and watch. You pay a few dollars and you get 3 or 4 hours of entertainment. And guess what? Here's a bit of a surprise. We're not really expecting you to guess, but here's something that you wouldn't expect. If you sit close to the front, you might even get playful kisses from the Cholitas. Oh! So it's basically really, really entertaining.
Yeah.
There's comedy, there's drama, there's action, there's kissing the audience. There's all sorts of cool things going on. So even if you're not a fan of wrestling, you would probably still find this show very entertaining. And it's done in a playful kind of way. When we say something is playful, we basically mean it's done for fun rather than done in a serious kind of way, all right? Think of the way that some friends might talk to each other. They might call each other bad names or tease each other, but they're not doing it to hurt feelings. They're doing it because they're good, close friends, and they know it's a joke. It's just doing it for fun, not in a serious kind of way. Sometimes when dogs are playing and you hear them barking, you might think, oh, they're fighting and they're angry. No, that running around, that's just playful. That's how dogs play. They are full of play or full of good times and not serious or anything like that. For example, Deborah and her boyfriend had a playful argument about who loved the other more. I love you more. No, I love you more. Shut up, I love you more. That kind of thing.
Right, 所以 playful 就是开玩笑、闹着玩的。比如说 to be in the playful mood 我的狗狗 like my dogs are always like that. The puppies were in a playful mood, chasing each other around the yard. 所以一场摔跤比赛呢，通常持续3个小时到4个小时。而且你知道吗？如果你坐在前排的话甚至还可以得到裘莉塔摔跤手一个调皮的吻。
All right, so along with some free kisses, maybe if you're sitting right at the front, if you're sitting a bit further back, you could also get something for free. You could even have popcorn thrown your way. Is that just a piece of popcorn or like a whole bag of popcorn? We don't know, but there's definitely a lot more going on outside the ring than you might expect. The audience almost becomes part of the show. So you could even have popcorn thrown your way, maybe get a free snack. Isn't this wild, energetic, and super fun? It certainly sounds wild, a little crazy, energetic, full of energy, and fun, super fun, very entertaining. Well, let's take a look at our language and focus for today.
所以当 have make 做使役动词的时候啊，就是表示使要叫。那么后方呢，可以依语义接上原形动词或者过去分词做成受词补语。所以如果受词的动作呢有主动的含义，我们后面就是接原形动词。比如说 The boss had the team gather in the conference room for a quick meeting before the presentation. 可是如果受词的动作呢是被动，后面就要变成过去分词咯。比如说 Every time Sarah enters a room, she makes her presence felt. 代表她每次进到一个房间，她就要让大家知道说我来了。 所以你甚至可能会被扔过来的爆米花击中，是不是很狂野、很好玩呢？喜欢今天的主题吗？大家不要忘记按赞、订阅、分享我们的 YouTube 频道跟 Facebook。可是 I think we have one more thing to go over before we wrap it up.
We do. We have a little chat question, so let's check that out. All right, our chat question is, what interests you the most about Cholita wrestling, and would you ever want to see it in person? Please explain your answer.
Definitely the popcorn.
The popcorn?
It's so fun.
Okay, I think the popcorn would be pretty. I want to know, how do you wrestle without losing your hat?
True.
I mean, I don't know. Are they gluing the hat to their head? Is it tied under their chin? Most wrestlers, even the best ones in America, they don't wear hats.
Yeah, I've never seen one.
So I'd like to see a lady in a dress with a shawl and a hat throwing another lady with the same clothes around and no one losing their hat. I would definitely want to see it in person.
Me too, me too.
Maybe also for the free popcorn.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to have more about Cholita wrestling tomorrow and how it's a very interesting part of life in Bolivia. So come back and join us for that. Until then, all the best and bye-bye. Vocabulary Review.
Pretend. Mona pretended to be a lion and chased her children around the house as they yelled loudly. Roar. During the match, the crowd roared with excitement when their team scored the winning goal. Audience. The band played all their famous songs that night and really pleased the audience. Feature. The school play will feature students from every grade, so everyone gets a chance to sing. Impressive. Ancient people built a huge and impressive temple here and covered it in gold. Playful. The boss's playful jokes during the meeting helped everyone feel more comfortable at work.
智慧小补帖
Wrestling. Indigenous.